Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the On the Horizon podcast. We're on location here at the NFR, and we have one of the all-time greatest here on the Horizon podcast, Miss Martha Josey. If you're not familiar with Martha Josey, you have not been in rodeo or even looked at anything rodeo. We're talking about Hall of Famer, 11-time NFR. You're an icon when it comes to barrel racing. So, and well, anything rodeo. I was reading some stuff this morning that you've done a lot of different events.
Oh, thank you, Derrick. That's so sweet. Love rodeo, love my horses.
So how did you get into it?
Well, my first words were, I want a horse. It wasn't mother or daddy, it was, I want a horse.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my dad was one of the first directors of the Quarter Horse Association and brought the first quarter horse into East Texas.
No way.
I was early on a horse.
That's awesome. So do you remember that first horse?
Oh, I do.
Tell me about him.
Little paint horse, and he was cute, and his name was Stormy, and he could run, but not around the barrels, because barrel racing wasn't real popular then.
Really? So when did you feel like barrel racing became more popular?
Oh, actually, my dad, he was, like I said, one of the first of the directors, and he passed away when I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
So all through school, I did not barrel race.
Oh, wow.
And then one day, when I was a senior in high school, I went to a rodeo in Shreveport, Louisiana, and oh boy, that was it. I saw the grand entry and I started crying, and then when the barrel racing came out, I said, oh, I don't belong up here. I belong down there.
That's awesome. So do you remember that, your first ride? You know what your time was on your first ride?
Well, I went home that night, and my mother had kept one horse, and I got my dad's saddle out and put it on that horse and found 3 barrels, and I ran barrels that first day.
That's awesome.
And my first rodeo was on that same horse, and it wasn't very good, but it was fast.
So when did you qualify for your first NFR? Now you've done 11 different times out here. So talk about that journey from the first NFR to the last NFR. What did you see different in the industry?
The money.
Money, yeah.
There's so much more money now, but back when I went too, it wasn't near expensive to go, and so we made a good living rodeoing.
Oh, wow.
But from the very first, really what got me started, a man called me a little while after I'd gone to that first rodeo, and he said, I bought one of your mother's mares, and I bred that mare to an all-thoroughbred horse, and I've got a horse named C.B. Reed, and you need to come and try him. And I said, well, I don't even have a horse trailer or any way to get him, He said, well, make a way. And I did. I borrowed my mother's. She had a Buick, had 300,000 miles on it. I rented a horse trailer for $5.
Oh, no
Went and
way.
picked up C.B. Reed. And I started winning. And I said, I called him. I said, what do you want for this horse? And he said, $5,000. I went, I didn't even have $5. So,
That's so awesome.
And then later, I called him again. I said, what do you want for this horse? Because I had really started winning. And he said, what will you give? And I said, I'll give $2,500. And he said, okay. And I started crying because I didn't have $25.
Oh, man.
But I went to my mother and I said, Mama, I just bought C.B. Reed. She said, baby, I leased my land for all today for $2,500.
No way.
Yeah, so it was kind of a Cinderella story.
That's amazing.
But right now, I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for C.B. Reed.
That's amazing. So if you had that horse today, you're talking about the money in the industry being different. If you had that horse today, what would that horse be worth?
It's no telling, because we talked some of the girls when I did an interview the other day. They said if you'd bring C.B. Reed back today, as tough as he was back then, I think I won 52 barrel races in a row and 7 horse trailers. And he was phenomenal. He had a style all of his own, and he could still win today.
That is amazing. So I love that story. So you went from renting a horse trailer for $5 to on that same horse winning 7 different trailers? That is amazing. That is amazing. So, so with that particular horse, how many NFRs did you do with that horse?
I actually went to my first NR. I won the Texas Barrel Racing Association 4 years on him. And then he had kind of slowed down because he was getting older. But I went to the NFR on him in 1968 and 69.
That's amazing.
And actually, I think I could have won it in 68, but he got hurt at a rodeo, the first one of the first ones I went to. And he got hurt really bad, but still I think I ended up 4th in the world that year. And then I looked for a horse. You know, after riding a Cadillac, it's kind of hard to find that perfect horse. And my next horse was a horse named Sonny Bitterbow. And I went to the NFR in 78, 79, 80, and 81.
All on that same horse? No way.
And today he's the only horse that ever won both the WPRA and the American Quarter Horse Association in the same year.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
So
You've
he
had
was
some pretty
great.
awesome horses.
Well, I've always heard you could only have one, and I've had several, so I've been real
I love that
blessed.
story. My granddad used to always tell me that. It's like you get one good horse and one good dog, and once you've had the one good one, don't try again.
That's right.
So it sounds like you got lucky
I have been very
or blessed. That's amazing. That's amazing. So when did you start doing? With Circle Y, we're doing your own series of saddles, and then work with Circle Y forever. When did you start designing saddles and really kind of usher in the next generation of barrel racers? When did you start doing your clinics?
A long time ago. I would say I started my first clinic in 1967 at the ranch. Ari and we got married in 66. He moved me out to West Texas, which there was no trees and the sand was blowing, and I said, let's go to Marshall, Texas, and have the best barrel racing and calf roping school in the world.
That's awesome.
We did. We had 33 students that year. Right now, we're still having the calf roping for next year is already full.
Dang.
We're the longest running rodeo school in the world.
No way. That is amazing. So when you look at the number, do you have any idea of how many barrel racers have been through your school since '68?
Well, we've estimated over 300,000.
No way. That is amazing.
It may be more.
So are any of the ladies out here competing at the NFR this week, did they start at your school?
Yes, Abby Phillips is from Marshall now, and she is running and has placed, I know she placed in the first and second go-round.
That's amazing.
And doing really good. She's won a lot of big rodeos this year.
That's amazing.
And we've got Kincaid Henry in the calf roping.
Yeah.
We've got Justin Schaefer in the team roping, and Tyler Wade in the team roping.
Team roping, yeah, he's amazing.
And he won the first two go-rounds.
Yeah, and that
Started
was-
out roping at the Josey Ranch.
No way. That is incredible. They have set some pretty amazing times this week. So I've got a young boy that we're trying to get into team roping, so we've been watching it. Those guys are throwing the loop before the calf has even hardly cleared the chute. It's incredible.
They have mastered it.
That's amazing. So when you're teaching somebody to get started in barrel, or like they're looking for their first setup, how do you get a young woman started in barrel? Is it just love for horses and I guess in your start clinics, how do you start somebody out? Because I say that because I've got young kids, and we're trying to figure out how do you get them involved, and it's a little harder than I thought to figure out how to break into understanding where things are, and so it can be overwhelming. And so that's why I think it's interesting with the clinics. Like, say you had a young daughter that you wanted to get started, and she looks up one of your clinics. What do they need to have? How do they get in touch with you?
Okay. When I didn't get to barrel racing, and after my father had passed away, and we didn't really get to ride horses that much, I played ball in school.
Okay.
Very, very, I love all kinds of sports, basketball. The first thing that my coach said, she said, do you want to win? I said, yes. She said, well, you got to practice every day, and you don't just practice, you practice perfect. And every day she'd stay after school with me, and I would make 100 free throws. So I learned, it's repetition, and a horse learns from that. And so on our students, we start them out slow with the basics, and let them progress. And if you let a horse never make a mistake or know a mistake, he won't make that mistake.
Interesting.
And same thing with the rider. I love to start them young, but at our school, last week I had a 5-year-old. And then we've got many teenagers and so many older girls now too.
That's
and
amazing.
Men are barrel racing.
That's amazing. So when you see, like, what is the hardest habit to break, or when you're working with a lady and you're like, this habit is always developed, or we might have to work with somebody out, what is the hardest habit to break, or the one that you see most of the time?
Teaching them that they have got to have the feel for the horse.
Okay.
It's kind of like dancing with the horse.
I like
and hands. Having great hands is so important.
Just
And
explain that. When you say having great hands, what do you mean?
well, your hands, that's what guides a barrel race around a barrel. And barrel racing is a guiding event. You've got to guide at the right time, and you've got to leave them alone when you need to leave them alone.
Interesting.
And I like my horses to be very focused and very automatic, so that they know what to do. Like 10 runs here, I want to come knowing that I've got a good pattern horse.
Interesting. So how do you decide, and again, this is coming from somebody, obviously, I'm not a barrel racer myself. How do they decide, whether you're approaching the right barrel first or the left barrel first? Is that because of that horse, or is that because of the rider? Like,
all of my horses went to the right barrel first, and there are some barrel horses that they think make better turns to the right, so they'll go one left, 2 rights.
so that is based on the horse itself.
Right.
Interesting. And just because one's right-handed, one's left-handed, that's crazy.
Yeah, kind of like a person,
Oh, that's interesting. I've always wondered that, so I figured I'd get a chance to ask you. So, when you're looking at barrel saddles, talk me through like what makes a good barrel saddle from a construction fit, because they're quite a bit different, and it seems to have changed. I love we're at the Circle Y booth getting to see like the generations, and you've got the 70s model barrel saddle compared to your new one here, and they're a little bit the same, but at the same time quite a bit of differences.
Oh, I have had the best relationship with Circle Y through the years, and been with them a long time, and I love them so much because I listen to them and they listen to me. And in barrel racing, you want something on that. What's in between you and that horse can help save your life and make you a winner. So you want the saddle that's going to help you the most. I'll start out with my horn. I've got
move
the
this a little
horn.
closer to you here. I just want to make sure I hear you. That announcer's a little loud.
Okay. I've got the horn that you can wrap your hand around and pull yourself up, leaving a barrel, push yourself down in the turn. And that is the greatest horn in the world. But the front end of my saddle, it's sloped so that it will keep you from going over the horse's head, which is,
on the front side
you
here.
want a tall front end. And then going to the middle of the saddle, you got close contact with your horse, which you really want. And we made our saddles with a deep seat, but a seat that won't throw you forward.
Interesting.
But one of the best things about my saddle, the stirrups are on a swivel, so that you can get your feet forward or backwards, and you can always keep your feet where they should be.
Okay. So when you say forward or backward, meaning to control the horse or to miss the barrel or both?
To be in balance with your horse in the turn. When they're on their rear end, you should be on your rear end. When they get up, you need to get up a little bit. And those stirrups and your feet are so important.
Interesting. So then, is there anything on the barrel saddle side that goes into weight of the barrel saddle? Like, is there a perfect weight or a perfect balance for the actual physical saddle to be for barrel racing? I have to imagine, like, you want that somewhat lightweight.
Oh, we do have the lightweight saddle, but we've also got the all leather with the wooden tree too, and it doesn't weigh that much. You don't want to go for less weight and less quality, so our lightweight saddle has got a lot of quality. It's a wooden tree, and it's it's guaranteed, and
That's awesome.
we haven't had any problems with them at all. Our all leather saddle, many cowgirls and cowboys are riding that saddle too.
That's
So
awesome.
it's kind of a preference whether you want leather or the lightweight.
What's
And
your style?
I ride them all.
I love it.
I love them all.
I love it. I love the style of these
And
too.
you know, one thing with the lightweight, we've got so many little bitty barrel racers, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and they can put that lightweight saddle on their horse. You know.
So what size seat saddle is typically a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old girl? I got to imagine it's.
We are one of the great teams that have put together the greatest 10-inch saddle in the world.
Oh,
I mean, it's got
that's
a
small.
deep seat, and I mean, every little bitty barrel racers that I put in that saddle, mamas and daddies said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know she could ride so good." And the little girl, I'll say, "Which saddle do you like the best? The one you were riding or the?" "Oh, I love this saddle." So we have got a 10-inch that's perfect.
That's
a lot
awesome.
of the little ones will ride the 12-inch,
Okay.
but they'll go from the 10-inch, you know, a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Probably going to. You know, and I've got to tell you something, too. This is the most asked question I ever get because I like to have automatic babysitting horses for the kids.
Yeah.
I see a lot of kids, parents bring them a horse, and they'll say, "Well, I want to buy a young horse that can grow up, you know, learning together." Bad decision. So I've always said the age of the horse and the age of the rider should be at least 25.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there for a
5-year-old
second. So we're going to take age of the horse, we're going to add age of the rider, and that should equal at least 25.
25.
Okay.
5-year-old, 20-year-old horse,
Nice.
10-year-old, 15-year-old horse.
That is
you know,
good
it's just-
information.
and you were talking about the seat size too. A long time ago, I learned that you double your fists up from here to here. You can stick your whole arm down into that saddle. And I actually ride a 14 and a half, and our saddles do come in half sizes, which I love. I ride a 14 and a half. A 14's too small, 15's too big. So, and this will fit in my 14 and a half seat perfect. So that's just a good little way to
That's
find
awesome.
out what what length of
Yeah, I've
seat
never
that
heard.
you-
That's good information. I've never heard that. That's
and
great.
it works.
So do you change the saddle based on the horse you're riding? So do you have like, okay, if I'm going to ride this horse, I'm using this saddle. If I'm going to ride this horse, or is the saddle more based on the rider for you?
Well, actually, our saddles with Circle Y, it fits so many different
Cool.
horses that we don't have a saddle for this horse or that one. Sometimes we'll change up a little bit if a horse is real high withered
Yeah.
or something, or low withered. We'll change with a pad.
Okay.
But our saddle fits so many different horses.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so I want to go back a little bit. I appreciate that's great information. I want to go back a little bit. I read online that you did some Olympic stuff. So tell me about. I have to know that story because when I'm reading through your bio, which is incredible, I come across that you competed in Canada in the Olympics.
In 1988, and I had always watched the Olympics and never, ever knew that rodeo would be part of the Olympics.
I had no idea.
Calgary, since they're such a great rodeo town, they decided when the Olympics were there that they would add rodeo. And we were checking out the motel, and Joe Beavers was there checking out, and he was signing some papers. I said, "Joe, what are you doing?" "I'm signing the papers for the Olympics." "The Olympics? How did you get?" And he said, "Well, we had to be first, second, or third at the NFR right now." And I said, "I am in that position." He said, "Well, you're in."
That's so
and
cool.
we went to the Olympics, and we won the gold medal.
No
and
way. So you haven't. So have they done a rodeo in the Olympics?
They had
since
never
then?
done it before.
So you have the only gold medal.
They had one or two other rodeos
Okay.
after that and added rodeo.
That's
but
amazing.
It was the first.
But you have a gold medal for barrel racing.
I've got a team gold and a bronze.
That is
single.
amazing.
So that was great, and it was so good. First thing when I got to the Olympics, I said, "Oh, I got to go right around and see everybody." And first thing I asked, I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Me, Russia Goldie." I said, "Oh." Goldie.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh. And I went to everything. I got to watch everything. It was the delight of my career, I think.
That is so cool. That is so cool. So if you, and I asked the guy, we had Hunter on the podcast here just a little bit ago, and I asked him, I'd love to know his story from you. If you go back through your career, you could pick one run, and and you would say that was the best run that I made, best run the horse made, everything was perfect, and I would go do that again in my career. What rodeo and what ride would that have been?
I would probably say the NFR 1980 10th run. I had 3 students running against me.
Oh, no way.
And
That's
Lynn
awesome.
McKenzie, we were nick and tuck going into the 10th performance, the last performance. We were like this. And all I had to do was not hit a barrel because we were that close. And so anyway, I went to the first barrel. Sonny slipped a little bit. I had trouble getting him over for the second, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to make up. So I over and undered him, which I had hardly ever done. And I actually won that rodeo, but that same year, that same horse won the AQHA. So I would have to say both of those.
That's
because
amazing.
winning a world title on that same horse
That's
was
so
something.
cool. So after a slip up, being able to correct that, and that's what's interesting. You're talking about being able to actually coming in the barrels, be able to grab the saddle horn and pull down, but also, running the reins at the same time. It's awesome.
Yes, and having a good saddle like this, and I see riders all the time. I'll say, oh my gosh, they need to try that Martha Josey Circle Y.
That's
and
awesome.
For security, for confidence, because you'd ask the barrel racer, what do you want to learn more than anything? How to have confidence. So that's so important.
That's awesome. So what do we always talk to people about, like, what is on your personal horizon? What do you got coming up next? What are you looking forward to? I'd love to know, what's next? You've done it all.
Well, I got a clinic coming up in between Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, wow.
So that's our next
That's not a busy
clinic.
time of year to do it.
It's great. But we love our clinics. We love the teaching, but we love our students when they win. And I have just been dreaming that I'm looking for another horse because I
Uh-oh.
might want to barrel race again.
Oh.
I mean, go on the road again. And now I've got a 4-year-old that has just been running scorching times. And so everybody's saying, are you going to sell that horse? I don't think so.
You're going to, okay. So how often do you barrel race? Do you at all still do that much?
At
or?
all of my clinics, I'll go around the barrels for teaching.
That's awesome.
But my clinics really keep me pretty busy. We have about 12 at the ranch.
Oh, wow.
So we're pretty busy.
You're real busy, yeah. But so maybe we'll see you compete again. That's what you're saying.
I'm sure dreaming about it.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you so much being on the podcast, and I've really, really enjoyed the time here. And I won't keep you too much longer, but I've really, really enjoyed talking to you in the partnership with Circle Y. We thank you so much for being involved in that.
Well, I've got to think, too, I've had the greatest sales person in the world working with me in Josey Ranch, and that's Jill from Circle Y.
Oh, absolutely.
She is so good, and she barrel races
Yep.
too, so that really, really helps. But Circle Y, they're just number one in my mind.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being involved with that, and looking forward to what we've got coming in the future, and seeing if we can get you back on the horse. I'd love to see that. I need to come out and see one of your clinics. I think it'd be neat to come by, and you say you do the calf roping as well, so that would be
and
fun.
breakaway roping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I may have to bring my son and get him involved in one of your
Okay,
clinics this year.
great.
So.
We love. How old is he?
He's 12.
Oh, just right.
Getting just started.
Yeah,
So
just right.
appreciate it. Well, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching this episode of On the Horizon. Be sure and check us out. Like and subscribe below, and check out the Martha Josey saddle line through Circle Y and CircleY.com. Appreciate it. We'll catch you later.